Hi everyone, this is David, and I just wanted to show you sort of how you can use this template and make it your own, and what you can do to customize and make it look right for your hallway bulletin board. So PowerPoint is a little bit fickle, I'll just tell you that now. And sometimes it looks a little bit different on different operating systems. So I'm running this on a Mac, so an Apple computer. If you were to run it on a laptop, desktop, something that's a PC, or if you're trying to open this online in Microsoft PowerPoint, things might look and act a little different. But I'm just showing you how it's looking from my computer because I'm not on those other systems right now, and I can't show all those different ways. But let me show you sort of how this works. So I've opened up the template. It's here. I gave you a couple different options. So over here on the left, you can do, there are two different color schemes. So in case you wanted to do like a favorite instrument down here, or if you wanted to do a favorite style of music, depending on what you want to ask your staff member to send you. We've got this color scheme, which is sort of more pinks. We've got one that's a little bit more red, and then one that's a little bit more neutral, blue-green, in case you want to do this for Music in Our Schools month or some other month. Really, any of these would be appropriate. But I'm going to show you the one that I used with my school, which is this sort of more pink chevron-y sort of thing. So you're going to need a couple fonts to make this work, and I mentioned that in the PDF. You need the font KG Red Hands, and you need the font KG Part of Me. Otherwise, if you don't have that, this name of featured artist and the Mr. Route, that's going to look real weird. It's probably going to be Times New Roman or something on your computer. So if you download those fonts and you upload them, this will all show up correctly. Again, in theory, PowerPoint is weird, so sometimes it won't always do that. But don't feel like you have to use the fonts that I've used. You can use whatever you want. But I give you that option. They're free fonts. You can download them and use them on your computer for personal use, and that includes at school. So you can do that if you want. So anyway, so let's say I'm not doing it for me. Let's say I'm doing it for the art teacher across the hall from me is Mrs. Newman. Okay, so Mrs. Newman's name is now onto a different line. So I'm going to shrink the size of this. Let me guess here at 35. Oop, that's not working. Hold on. Let's see, how about 30? Ah, that fits. Okay, if I wanted to use 35 and see if that would work, I can also drag out here on the side and make that name fit a little bit better. But again, you have to sort of fiddle around a little bit just because people have all different sorts of names, longer, shorter, whatever. Just make them fit however you want. And then let's say we're using my favorite artist and things. So I'm going to go fill in here. So my favorite artist is BTS. Right now. Okay, the song I used to tell kids was this song called Treat People with Kindness. And it's by Harry Styles. Okay, again, this doesn't really want to fit. It's saying it's too much, so I can either drag these little arrows to try and make it fit. Oh, that did not like me. Or I can change the font size. Again, you just have to fiddle around with it. It takes a little bit of work, but it ends up looking pretty cool. Yeah, that looks better. I like that more. Okay, and then the instrument, I'm going to say ukulele. Where it gets sort of cool and funky and maybe might work differently on your system is where the picture. So you see it's got all this like weird text that's hanging off the page. That, I don't know, that's a weird PowerPoint thing. So, so what you can do, you can either click this little image and then I can drag on my photo, right? And it'll upload it for me. Or if I click this little icon here in the middle, it'll open up, you know, my browser and I can go browse for it. But for me personally, it's easier for me to just click it and then drag over. Just be careful because you might be like, I'm going to drag onto this one, but this image is not the one I clicked, so it's going to show up in the place where I clicked, if that makes sense. So if I'm just dragging willy-nilly, you know, it's only going to take it to the place where I clicked or where it's active. So let's say that this picture is great, but it's not zoomed in as much as I want. You can click it and you can, if you come down to the crop option, you can crop the photo. So I can pull this little square, I can drag myself and make myself bigger. Of course, then what happens if you distort? On my computer, if I press Shift and then the little arrow, it keeps the properties the same so I don't distort my face shape. But again, you can play around that if you want, you know, however teachers send it to you. You could do whatever you want. But yeah, I would say make it a little bigger, make it work better so that you can see the person's face a little bit better. You can also play around with cropping like this, and that might work, but then, once you do that, then it looks a little funky, so then you still have to drag and make it bigger. So when I'm cropping, I usually try and just pull down on the little squares on the side, those little white squares you could see, and not mess with the little crop marks. I do it just inside the square. So then I have to do that same thing down here for my other images. So I went online, found a picture of BTS. I went online, I found the album cover for Harry Styles. And then I went online and I found a picture of a ukulele. I told teachers that I would go and find those photos for them. But you could say, oh, please send a photo of whatever. You're just going to get all sorts of different things. So for me, it's really quick to do like an image search and find that myself. But you do what you want to do. Okay, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. If this were a band, like let's say, I don't know, let's say it's a longer group name. Let's say it's the President's Own Marine Band, or what, let's say it's even crazier than that. The President's Own, United States, United States. Okay, so a longer name. Okay, so if it's longer like that, you might need to change the font size to be smaller so that it fits in the space. That's what I had to do down here with Treat People with Kindness. But let's say I do have a name like BTS, right? And it looks weird in this big open space to have it that small. Well, then I might just change just this specific one and make it a little bit bigger. Ooh, that's really big. Whoops. But it's something is pretty quick for me to change to make it bigger. I might do the same thing with ukulele, just so it stands out a little bit bigger. You don't have to do that, but you can. It just makes it look a little bit more like it fits the space. And then once I'm ready to print, I go up to File. And there are a couple things you could do. You can go straight to print, and this is set to letter size, so it should print correctly. On my computer, I always make sure that I have clicked Scale to Fit Paper, so that the image that I'm printing fits the page. And on most operating systems, you have a little button that will say something like that. It may not be that exact wording. Again, I'm on a Macintosh. I'm on an Apple computer, so it's gonna do its own thing. If you're on a different kind of computer, it'll probably say something different. So you can print it like that if you want. Sometimes I don't have success printing from PowerPoint. So instead, if I don't want to print right to my printer, I could also come down here to PDF. There's a little trick I sometimes use. And I do Save as PDF. And then then I'll save it to my desktop or whatever, and then I can print the PDF. For some reason, sometimes printing PDFs is just easier than printing PowerPoints. I don't know why that is. My printer just eats the PowerPoints. I don't know. So sometimes I'll save it as a PDF and then print that instead of printing the PowerPoint. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, I hope this gives you an idea of how you might do this with your school and your the teachers at your school, and I hope this is a fun time for you and your kids in your school.